Without and within all beings, he is unmoving as also moving. He is too subtle to be known. He is far away and yet he is near. The Supreme Soul is inside and outside all creatures because the Supreme Soul is complete. He is unmoving and also moving. He is unknowable because he is extremely subtle. That is why one cannot know about him and cannot see him. He is unknowable. This is just like there is air and there are particles of air, but the particles of air are so subtle that they cannot be seen. In the same way, the soul cannot be seen by anyone. The soul is extremely subtle. Not only that, the soul is far away, and yet the soul is near. There's a mantra in the Isha Upanishad that is quite similar to this verse. Tadai jati tanna jati tadure tadavantike tadantalasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya sabhahitya. He moves yet he does not move. He is far yet he is near. He is within all beings, and he is also outside all beings. This is the fifth mantra of the Isha Upanishad. Just like the pieces of ice that have fallen in the ocean, the Supreme Soul is in this world. Otherwise, we the individuals are like these pieces of ice. And the water is the Supreme Soul. The pieces of ice have fallen into the ocean. The water is both inside the pieces of ice and outside the pieces of ice. The water itself has become the pieces of ice. There are no borders, for example, that the water is finished and the ice has started. The difference is only that of temperature. Otherwise, there is no difference of quality, and yet the existence is different. You can pick up a block of ice and say that it is a piece of ice. In the same way, in the ocean of supreme consciousness, the pieces of ice in the form of human beings are lying there. They are in essence the Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is outside as well, and we have become created from the Supreme Truth. Just like the ice has been created from the water, we have been created from the consciousness of the Supreme Brahman. We are not different. The Supreme Soul is without and within all beings. If the Supreme Soul is so omnipresent that he is both inside and outside beings, then why can the Supreme Soul not be seen on the outside? There is a reason for this. In the Samkhya collection of verses, that are the verses 3 of which God has put here, there are some reason as a result of which objects are there and yet they cannot be seen. A whole formula is given. The first reason is that it is extremely far away. Ati dura. In the same way, it is said in this verse that he is far away. He is extremely far away, and therefore, despite him being here, he cannot be seen. The Himalayas are there, but can one see them sitting from Mumbai? No, because they are very far. If one is very far, then they cannot be seen. There are some verses written in this book, this is very clear, but you ask somebody in another room to read them while they're in another room, would they be able to read them? No. Why? Because they are extremely far away. Fine, the other person is very far away, and therefore they cannot see it. Therefore you take it to them in that room, and you tell them to read it. Will they then be able to read it? No. Why? So the second formula is, it is extremely near. Sambiyat. Even if something is extremely near, then even then you cannot see it. It is certainly there, but you cannot see it. For this, you need a distance vision, for example, 1 foot. This is necessary in order to see something. Therefore, the first reason was that he is very far, and the second reason is he is very near. The third reason is that despite him being there, he cannot be seen because he cannot be perceived by the senses. Indriyat ghatat. If there is a very beautiful picture of Srimad Adi Shankaracharya in front of you, and there are objects that come into a person's eyes, and the person will not be able to see the picture. If particles of rubbish or chili particles have come from somewhere and have fallen into a person's eyes, then you will not be able to see it. Is this the picture not there? A person may say that they cannot see the picture. 3 other people in the room are saying that it is there, and the one person is saying he cannot see it. It is because there are items that have fallen into his eyes. The fourth reason is that mono navashtana. If the mind is somewhere else, then he cannot be seen. If we're passing through a crowd and someone comes from the other side and asks us, "Are you looking or not?" we say, "Oh, my mind was somewhere else." The person was in front of us, and yet we did not see them. The mind is somewhere else. In the same way, God comes to us and often asks us, "Do you recognize me or recognize me or not?" We reply that, "God, I've become so struck in the crowd, that is this material world, that my mind is somewhere else, God." The fifth reason is that he is extremely subtle, sukshmaat. God similarly says here in this verse that he is too subtle to be known. There are many microbes that we cannot see. They are there, and this is the reality. If you look at them through a microscope in a subtle vision, then they look so big, but they cannot be seen with the eyes. There are so many insects living in the water, yet they cannot be seen. They are extremely subtle. The sixth reason is that an interruption comes in the middle. Vyavabhadanat. If we're sitting in a building, then something must be going on in the building next to us. Something must be going on in the building next to us. People may be sitting there, talking, doing everything, but can we see this? No. Why? Because there are walls in between. An interruption comes in the middle. Therefore, we cannot say that because I can't see it, there is nobody outside this building. The seventh reason is that it gets covered. Paribhavat. To take an example, we say that see the stars at night. But where do the stars go during the day? The stars are there, but they cannot be seen. Why? Because when the light of the sun comes, then the light of the stars or the light of the moon gets covered. Therefore, they cannot be seen, and one cannot see them. But when the light of the sun goes, then they can be seen. Therefore, the essence of the moon does not go away, and the stars do not go away. They remain exactly where they are, but they become covered with the light of the sun. They become covered. And finally, it is the same as us. Samana biharat. When two things that are the same come together, then they cannot be seen. If rain is falling, then it first falls into the lake. Will you be able to tell the difference? What is lake water or rainwater? No, because they both come together. The moment when they fall, then they become one. The reason for this is that they're both water. The rainwater is water, and the lake water is water. The nature of both is the same. In the same way, the Supreme Soul is also inside us. But what has happened is that it is the same as us. The nature of both is the same. From God's perspective, we are the same as God, only we have considered ourselves to be different. But do we ever consider ourselves to be the same as God? The reality is that the nature is one. Shankaracharya says that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmane Virapara. Brahman is truth and the world is illusion. The self is not different from Brahman. The self is Brahman and is not different. The nature of both is the same. That is why the Supreme Soul cannot be seen. Let us go to the next verse.